two pumps. Oh God, where am I going? Now I'm just going to tell you something when I was pumping that out there. That's not the first time that's pumped that. The pump maybe needs a little investing in it. Hi, I hope you're all well. If you are new around here, hello, it's lovely to meet you. And if you're returning, thank you very fucking much for coming back. The sun in this video it's fucking doing my nut in. I wanted to film today, sorry, I went off tangent already. Film today a review of the Glossier Stretch Foundation because I just got it this week. And I have to say, the sun is not playing ball today, so we're in a slightly different area of my room. I've tried my best. I've got it on my face at the moment. I am a 36-year-old lady living in Scotland, and that is where my accent is from. And on this channel, we predominantly talk all things beauty, skincare, hair care, lifestyle, travel-y, bloggery, vloggery bullshit, but with a liberal sprinkling of sarcasm, cynicism, and sweary words thrown in on top. So if that's not your kind of thing, I completely appreciate that. That's fine. Please feel free to vacate, but there is a subscription button in the corner. If it sounds like your cup of tea, give it a little thumbs up and all that other YouTuber crap. As I said, this video is going to be a little mini review of the Glossier Stretch Foundation. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you will know I am a huge Glossier fan, and the Glossier Stretch Foundation is something that concealer. The Glossier Stretch Concealer is something that I have bought at least 5 or 6 times now over the years. It is a staple, it is a holy grail, it is a desert island product that I can't live without. So when I seen they were bringing out Stretch Foundation, it needed to be tried. It needed to be tried. Also, hair is a fucking riot, but do you know why? Because I'm gonna go and get it cut now. I've put on a little bit of foundation. I'm not even gonna bother putting any other freaking makeup on. I'm gonna go and get my hair cut now because it is driving me mental. I've not had my hair cut since December and it's September. How sad is that? So if you want to see a little review of the Glossier Stretch Foundation and what I think of it, then just keep on watching. Anyway, this video is gonna be a little review, or I wouldn't say a first impressions, I wouldn't say a full review of the Glossier Stretch Foundation, because I have had this now for a week, I want to say at this point. I have got a first impressions reel over on Instagram if you want to go and see that, but I've worn it a few times now and I have some varying thoughts and opinions on it, but I'm still on the fence. I'm not sure how I feel about it at the moment. What I will say is that I was very surprised at the texture. Stretch concealer, if anybody knows me and you've been here for any length of time, is my go-to. I love stretch concealer. I always say to people as well though, if you're the kind of person that loves a concealer that like sets down under your eyes, then maybe you won't like stretch concealer, because I know a lot of people prefer one that really sets down under their eyes as opposed to stretch, which is a little bit emollient and malleable. It never quite sets down, but the reason I really like it is it's very easy to kind of get it to stretch across the face. That's the whole point. It looks very natural and I really like that, and with a little bit of powder I feel it works really well. Alright, so I am sitting in front of my window. It is natural light, it will go in and out. I'm really sorry. Again, at this time of the day I have no control over the sun, does what he likes. It wouldn't be so bad, see, if it was just a nice clear day and it was a blue sky, I would know and I could set my camera to the right thing. But because there's clouds, it goes in and out. Nothing I can do about it, I'm really sorry. So as I was saying, this really surprised me in the sense that this is definitely a foundation, obviously, because it's fucking called Stretch Foundation. But what I mean is, I suppose because of the texture of stretch concealer, I expected this to be more of a tinted moisturiser, or like Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Tint. One of those really dewy type of foundations. I did not expect this to be as it is. Have to first of all say the packaging is glorious, love it. Glass bottle, beautiful silver lid here, and it's got a little pump. Now I'm going to do a wee halfy. I'm going to put some on this side of my face so you can see how the coverage is, and then I'm going to put some on this side of my face as well. But I'm going to put on some Glossier Future Dew underneath one side and this side on its own. Now here's the thing, I ain't a heavy coverage girl, never have been, don't really subscribe to that. Matte foundations aren't really my bag. There's been the odd few over the years that I kind of like, but it's not something I will gravitate towards, especially not in summer months. But we are coming into autumn. As I film this today, it's 1st of September. How exciting is that? So I'm kind of like, okay, let's get on board here, Stretch, let's do it. I'm just so shocked at the texture because It's so different from the concealer. So very, very different. Now I've put a few blobs on my face there. I'm going to just take this brush. This is a LARAFAYE F19. It's quite a nice dense brush and it's on an angle here. This was sent to me. And I feel like I put this on the other day. Sorry, I need to use my little mirror to see what I'm doing. I put this on the other day and I was really quite shocked at the coverage. I was not expecting it. It says that it's a medium coverage. Or is it light to medium buildable coverage? I would say this is medium straight off the bat. For me personally, if you are someone who always wears a full coverage, you might be like, whoa, that is not enough for me. However, for me, I feel like this is probably as heavy as I would go. And I think that really shocked me from Glossier. But I get it, like they've already got the skin tint. They want a proper foundation. So it's just another like thing to add to their arsenal, isn't it? Now, I have to say I was really, really pleased with the smoothness and how it went on. I do have normal leaning to dry skin, and what I found the other day was when I was using this that I had a few areas where my retinol had caused some peeling, and my god did it stick to it. So there's really no forgiving with this one. I even feel like now as I brush it across my eyebrow, like it's almost covered, changing the colour of my eyebrow slightly. This has coverage. This is by no means one of these willy-nilly kind of, oh, just a little bit of a skin tint situation. But I also feel that means it isn't quite as glowy as I usually like, and it is much more of a satin finish. I do feel like it sticks on little areas of dryness that I maybe have. I can see on my eyebrow there. But the rest of the finish I'm quite pleased with. I think it sits really well on the skin. As for longevity, that's me worn it 2 or 3 days now, not in a row, but I have worn it and I feel like the wear time of it is really good as well. Oh, I suppose I should tell you what colour I got. That's actually something I'd like to talk about because I love what Glossier have done with the marketing of this. They've done photos of so many different diverse people, but also they've done photos like, okay, maybe in front of lights, but they've done photos straight outside as well, which is so important. I feel like we see so many images now, and I'm guilty of it myself, in front of lights, you know, with perfect skin, and actually when you go outside your makeup does look different from when you're sitting inside doing your makeup in front of a table with a light. Looks hugely different, so I really liked that from them. However, I am G11 and G10 in the stretch concealer. G11 is the slightly lighter one, and that's probably what I would use throughout the year and the winter months. G10 I'll lean into when I've got a little bit more of a tan to my skin, and it works well, it's fine. But G11 is probably my closer match. So I was trying to find whichever foundation shade would suit me, and I was looking at all the variations. How many is it they've got? 32 shades, that's how many there is. So they've got 5 categories, and then within that, I think it's 5, they have undertones. So I was looking to see, and on the website, I kind of wish they just done it like, if you're shade G10 or G11, wear this one. But I know that wouldn't work because your foundation and your concealer are supposed to be slightly different shades. However, it would have been a little bit easier for me. When I was looking, I was like, well, what am I? And basically I ended up getting light 1. It's fine. As you can see on my face here, it's fine. I actually think it matches quite well with my body. Like, I think I am quite red and ruddy, so it actually evens out my skin tone to match the rest of my body. However, what I will also say is, I feel it makes me look a little flat and matte. Not matte, but flat. That's what I mean to say. I feel like sometimes when I'm using foundations and stuff like that, it can create a mask effect, and then you have to go in on top of that with bronzers and all that kind of stuff. Now, it depends how you put your foundation on. A lot of the time I will patchwork my makeup. So I will go in with blush, bronzer, blah, 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 and then just go into these areas with a bit of concealer when I need the coverage. I won't put on a full coverage like that, a full face, but we're testing foundation here, you know. But however, if I was going on an evening out, an event type thing, a wedding, I probably would start with a base like this and then build on top of it. So I do feel like it's just, to me, doesn't feel like Glossier, because they're so like, oh, you know, real skin, natural beauty, blah, 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 blah. They do all that kind of shit, clean girl crap. They always have, and I know I'm a big sucker for them, but they've always been like that. So for me, I feel like this is quite full coverage. And actually, one of the images I was looking at, so it's light 2, it's this beautiful girl with amazing freckles. And I was like, God, she's absolutely gorgeous. However, I was like, well, if her freckles are shining through, it's not going to be that full coverage. It must be quite sheer. And I was like, okay, fine. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go for light 1. And I think now I probably could have went a shade lighter, but this is workable for me. It's fine. I think for their marketing, as I say, I love it. They've got photos of people outside in natural light, but it would have been beneficial to do a proper side-by-side face. And I know they've got ones with like before and after, but not with the girl with the freckles. So I was kind of like, I want to see what the coverage is. I want to see what it actually looks like on that person, because to me, her skin looks super duper natural. Whereas when I've put this on, I don't think this does look supernatural. I think it definitely looks like I'm wearing foundation. I don't think it looks like I'm caked. It doesn't feel cakey at all. And I think there is still a nice radiance there. You can see kind of the glow on my cheek, but I do have skincare underneath it. So let me just zoom you in a little closer so you can see exactly what the coverage is like. So again, as I say, I'm sitting in front of a window, and this is the side with the stretch foundation on. I think the coverage is really quite impressive in comparison to this side, because you can see I do have freckles, I do have pigmentation, I do have areas where I've probably had too much sun damage over the years, but there are definitely marks and things on my skin, old blemish marks and stuff like that. And however, this side is significantly different. I'm really hoping you can see that there, like there and there. It is significantly different. I am shocked by the coverage on this, and again, it doesn't mean to say I don't like it, but it is way more coverage than I expected. So I'm going to go in on this side, but I am going to go in and put some Future Dew underneath it, because I did feel like, although there is that glow there, to me, it did just feel like I was wearing quite a heavy foundation. I know it's not a heavy foundation. I know lots of people will be like, what are you talking about? But for somebody like me who's used to a very light coverage, this definitely felt like as if, oh, I'm wearing something that I would be more inclined to wear to a wedding or like an actual event or something like that. I'm saying that like I'm going to Pure Hunters events, but you know what I mean, like a night out, something like that. This certainly isn't a foundation that I would be wearing on the daily, whereas the likes of like the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin, even the number 7 Hydroluminous, that's a medium coverage foundation. I would be quite happy to wear that on a day-to-day if I was going somewhere, whereas this is like super coverage. Now the other thing that I was wondering about, and I've not actually like tested out properly yet, is like a full face of Glossier, because what I find quite interesting is, because of the texture of this, because it is a little bit more satin, not matte, but definitely satin, I wonder how this would play with the other Glossier products on top. So if you were like, they're mainly cream products, aren't they? Most of their products are, like their Halo Scope, their Cloud Paint, stuff like that you're going to put on your cheeks, their bronzer even as a liquid. How is that going to interact with that? What I'll have to do is give you like a proper roundup in my monthly roundup. This is more of just a here's how it looks type situation. But it would be interesting to know if it's going to move that about underneath. And again, there would be the reason why maybe it would be better to patchwork this product. But because of the level of coverage of this product, I feel like that would be quite a difficult one to, like, you know, put your blush on first and then just pinpoint with this foundation, because it's so much coverage that I think it would look quite apparent that you'd kind of done patchwork, if you know what I mean. Whereas when you're using a sheer coverage, it's a little bit easier to blend it all together. Now I'm going to go in on this side, and what I'm going to do is something a little bit different. I'm going to squeeze out again. I actually put 2 pumps. Oh God, where am I going? Now I'm just going to tell you something when I was pumping that out there. That's not the first time that's pumped that. The pump maybe needs a little investing in it. The first time obviously you expect to go to get some out and it was fine. But the second 2 times that I've used it, I've been like, then there's air. Then there's air. And I'm like, I've gave it a shake. It's still fucking full. Like, what's going on here? It does do that. So anyway, I've squeezed out some more on this side. And what I'm going to do is go in with the brush and dab it on there and pounce on this. Pounce, such a fucking YouTuber word, isn't it? And so that I can get a little bit of a sheerer coverage on this side. Now this side is definitely a bit sheerer doing that method rather than putting it directly on your face, so maybe that is just the way to be doing it. But however, what I will say is it's still pretty good coverage. It's certainly not to be sniffed at, that's for sure. And again, I'm trying to tell on the viewfinder here, I think you can still see there's that kind of mask-like effect. Like, it's taken away some dimension and shape to my face because it is a true foundation. This is not a tinted moisturiser. No, not whatsoever. So I feel like it does mask you a little bit. Not the end of the world. Like I can go in and put on bronzers and stuff on top of it. But as I say, I don't know how cream products are going to play with this on top of it. I could show you right now, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have time to do it. I'm really sorry. I'm in a bit of a rush today. Going to get my hair cut, remember? So that is the coverage. And let me just zoom you in on this side. So on this side now, you can see here, you can still see my freckles. You can still see like areas here that I spoke about. But it's definitely, like I know I keep saying it, got coverage. Like I can't get over just how much coverage it's got. The other thing that I would add as well is that if I, for instance, like normally would put on a sheer base, then I would add in a little bit of stretch concealer around about the nose and here, maybe on my chin to cover up areas. I feel like I wouldn't need to do that with this. In here maybe, but I certainly don't need to add anywhere else on my face because the coverage is that much. And again, if you're somebody who's watching this who's used to a full coverage foundation, don't buy this and then come at me being like, this is not full coverage. Because I am somebody who's so used to such a sheer coverage. So for me, I am just shocked that this is what this is. The other thing that I'd read about it as well is it's like 89% skincare properties or something. It's got skincare ingredients in it, which is very, very interesting. And I find that throughout the day, as I say, the wear time is really good. I personally, as again, normal leaning to dry, I'm not somebody that gets obviously greasy that often, but sometimes in these areas it does happen. So I have added a little powder on top of it once and it was fine, and I feel like the wear time of it is really, really good. However, I am aware I am wearing foundation. I'm just going to put that out there. That's not a bad thing, but for me, when I know, like I feel like I'm wearing makeup, like I'm feeling it on my face, that's where I'm like, oh, this is just different for me. This is not what I'm used to because I'm so used to wearing something that's very, very sheer. This, I definitely can tell I'm wearing it. It doesn't feel cakey. It doesn't feel heavy. My skin doesn't feel like as if I'm like, you know, a raisin sucks dry. But I'm definitely aware it's there. Definitely aware it's there. So here we are. Actually, the sun's disappeared again, so I think this is a really good time to zoom in properly. So you can see, as I say, definitely can still see the freckles on this side, but it's just evened out the skin tone, hasn't it? And I feel like here, like, there is that glow, there definitely is, but I feel like on this side it's like sheeny glow now, because I put that Future Dew underneath it. So I definitely think if I was to wear this again, that's the way I will go with it. I did not do that the first couple of times that I wore it, and I much prefer this kind of a sheeny look than this isn't, you're probably watching this being like they look the same, but I feel like this side is just a little bit more satin, whereas this side is like dewy. So as I said, this is not like an overall roundup. I don't feel that I can give this product an overall roundup just yet. I'm definitely on the fence about it. I don't hate it. I think it's a really, really nice product. Let's go through some pros and cons. First of all, the packaging. It's beautiful. It's very, very on trend for Glossier. I really, really like it. I also feel like as if it's very easy to apply. I don't feel like I'm having to bounce it in, buff it in and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't take very long to apply. The coverage is obviously very, very good. So I'm going to put that as a pro because I know people will be looking for that. The longevity is gorgeous. I feel like as well, it's one of these ones, like even though it's a little bit more of a satin, it's not caking up in these areas. Although any kind of dry patches that I have had, it did stick to them. I think the colour is okay. It's a match, it's fine. I just found it a little bit difficult to find my colour, and with there not being Glossier in store, especially not in Scotland, that can be a little bit tricky. And moving on to the cons, again, they're not even really cons. They're just things that I'm a bit like, I'm unsure of. Feeling it on my face is just a little bit strange to me. The fact that it's supposed to be like the sister to the stretch concealer, I feel like this is definitely not what I expected. It's completely different. I'm also a little bit like, this mask-like effect is not something I'd be wearing on the daily. So it's definitely one that I would use more for events, nights out, stuff like that. And I'm not going to many of them nowadays. So I feel like if you're somebody who wears a foundation every day, then maybe this is absolutely going to be right up your street. I feel like I'll be lucky to get through this bottle. I've obviously got a lot of foundations as well, but if you're buying this alone and this is your only foundation and you wear it every day, you'll probably use it up, no problem. However, for somebody like me who doesn't wear this type of a foundation on the daily, then I feel like it would take me a lot to get through this. So you know, swings and roundabouts. I feel like the shade matching is difficult. I know I've already said that, but it is quite tough online to find your shade. I don't even know how they would do it. I wish they would just make it available in other places. Put them in Boots. Put them in Boots in the UK. Fuck Sephora. I know they've just launched UK Sephora. Glossier have, because they've obviously done it across the pond. But I'm like, the only Sephora shop in the UK is in London. Hello? Us up here in Scotland, hello, even us up here in fucking Northern England, like, Jesus Christ, not everybody lives in London. It's not like you can just jump the fucking bus to London. It takes a long time to get there. So I would really, really appreciate it if they would just fucking make it easier and more accessible, and that's just the brand as a whole, to be honest with you. The pump is sticky. That needs some working on it. The pump's not quite right. And I think that's it. I don't want to say, don't know how it'll play with cream products because I don't know yet. Still on the fence about that. But that's my overall kind of where I'm sitting at now. Only got it a week ago and how I'm feeling about it. So tell me what your thoughts and feelings are. Let me know what you think. Are you going to try it? Is it up your street? Is this something you were looking into? Did you think the same as me? Did you think it was going to be like one of those kind of serumy, moisturising skin tinty type things? Or did you know because they already have the skin tint? Obviously, ALANNA, it's a proper foundation. I'm just so shocked at how incredibly, like, coverage and flat and matte that this makes. Not matte, I keep saying matte, but flat this makes my... It looks like I'm wearing a mask now. And this is certainly not the way I would ever go out. I would have to build on top of this. So I don't think this would be a quick makeup for me. And I feel like that's what Glossier is all about. Quick, easy, just a little bit of blush, just a bit of this, that and the other. I don't know. I don't know what you think. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave this video. Let me know what you think. I know I've said that already. And let me know if you're going to try this. Has this little review, mini review, been useful to you? And I promise you, I will give you a full roundup later on in the month. And as I say this is September. So it'll not be in the August favourites. It can't be. I've only just had it a week. I'll do it at the end of September and let you know what I think about it at that point. But I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye.